But that's a note on the Giants. Now we go back to the Jets, and hopefully we can hear this guy this time, the longtime voice of the New York Jets and ESPN play-by-play voice. Bob Wischusen joins us now. Bob, thanks so much for your time today.
Yep, sorry about that. I don't know. Everything was fine until it wasn't. So now hopefully this is better.
All good. You sound good. Give us your thoughts on training camp so far. First off, what year is this for you as the radio voice of the Jets?
For doing all the games, 25.
Incredible. So looking at this team, a lot of changes, of course. The quarterback, though, is someone you know well, and Geno Smith. Give us your thoughts on him and just everything going on with this team right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I know this Geno Smith. I'm kind of curious to see what this Geno Smith looks like, because this is not the same guy that left here. I think when he left here, his confidence was kind of shattered, and he wasn't supported real well when he was here. And now, if you look at the group that they have around him, I mean, he is supported at a massively different level than he was when he was here before. So hopefully some success in Seattle. You know, he has kind of hit the mental reset button, hopefully, since he left, and realizes he's got a pretty good group around him, that should support him, a foundation for success.
If a Jet fan is trying to find reasons for optimism, and you referenced part of it there, the supporting cast around Geno, why should they feel like, okay, as bad as last year was, this team has a chance to surprise and be a lot better than most think?
Yeah, I mean, that would be the jumping off point, the fact that they have invested a lot of draft capital on the side of the ball that has probably been as much of the reason that they've struggled and also the reason that teams in the NFL succeed, and that is the offensive side of the ball. I mean, they've always been towards the bottom of the league in points scored, yards, production. It puts a lot of stress on your defense. So a couple of first-round picks at tackle, adding Omar Cooper, obviously Garrett Wilson already being here, securing Breece Hall. They have a deep running back room. Kenyon Sadiq, I mean, you can do a million things with him. He's like, potentially kind of a Deebo Samuel type. So yeah, there's reasons. Now, I have no idea if Geno will really, truly re-resurrect his career here. I think he's the X factor. What will you get at quarterback? But you can see the plan, and you can see how they have spent the last 3 years trying to beef up the offense.
Bob Wischusen is our guest here, talking all things Jets as they open up the season, of course, week 1 against Robert Saleh and the Titans. We'll talk about that in just a bit. But, Bob, looking at the defense now, the big change with the head coach is that he's taken over the play calling. Give us your thoughts on this Jet defense and what we can expect with Aaron Glenn taking over.
Yeah, the defense is, I think, a little bit more of a work in progress. I think that you can see, I mean, obviously adding Omar Cooper, the 2 tackles, you have Garrett Wilson, you draft Kenyon Sadiq, you sign Breece Hall. The biggest moves on defense outside of David Bailey, who I saw yesterday in practice, put a heck of a move on Armand Membu and then Breece Hall to get a sack. So, I mean, hopefully he's a real impact player, but, they seem to have added, outside of him as a pass rusher, a lot of guys that are there because they're kind of like the wily veteran types, whether it's at D tackle or bringing Demario Davis back at inside linebacker to be alongside Jamie and Sherwood, or putting Minkah Fitzpatrick on the back end of your defense. I don't think he's the Minkah Fitzpatrick from 4 or 5 years ago, but does he have to be? Should he rub off on the youth that the Jets have at safety? I think that the defense probably, is a little bit more of a question mark going into the season than at least the skill position players and the supporting cast that they've given Geno Smith to work with.
Bob, this is the toughest question I might ask you in this conversation. Do you think you will get to broadcast a call of a Jet interception this season?
I'm optimistic that the answer is yes.
It's unbelievable. I mean, obviously we've never seen anything like that before, but what was it like experiencing that in the booth every week and just not getting a chance to call a single interception on defense last year?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something you were thinking about. You're just calling the game. It was kind of one of those things where each week in the rearview mirror you would say, oh, my God, that was another game without an interception, and it kind of built all the way through the year. But, I mean, Nishan Wright, who they brought in to play corner this year opposite Brandon Stevens, I think he had 5 on his own last year.
Yep.
So, yes, I do think that's a streak that's going to come to an end, hopefully sooner rather than later.
There's no doubt about that. You mentioned David Bailey, and you were at practice yesterday. He had 3 sacks unofficially. I know a lot of Jet fans are excited about that. But what does success look like for David Bailey? I mean, he's the highest drafted defensive player in team history, and it feels like until yesterday, he's kind of flying under the radar. Not a lot of people talking about Bailey till he had this huge practice.
Yeah, and that's fun, right? I mean, be a top pick in the draft and be not really someone that gets talked about a ton, and maybe be given the chance to develop a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to put a statistical number on success or failure for him this year, but he should be a player that if he stays healthy, every single week should be affecting the other team's quarterback. Now, it may not result in sacks. It might result in interceptions. I mean, that would even be better. Like a pick is better than a sack. And oftentimes the pass rush can be responsible for the pick being thrown. So to me, it's just at the end of the game, how many times can you say he pressured the quarterback, got him off his spot, flushed him out of the pocket, and put him under duress, hit the quarterback? He could have, games where he changes the game without getting a sack. That's what the great pass rushers do. And I think they feel like he's got the potential to be that.
What have been your initial impressions on Cade Klubnik so far?
I was impressed yesterday. I felt like when I first got there, Gino was throwing the ball. He was the first guy, that I saw, they were running like 7-on-7 drills, just throwing on air. And I'll tell you, Gino can still make every throw. I mean, he can spin it. That arm strength was never a problem. And then the next guy up, I think, was Brady Cook, and then Zappi followed him. The last guy, I think, in the rotation was Klubnik. And you saw a difference from Gino throwing the ball to the middle 2 guys to when then Klubnik came in and threw it. It looked like the same velocity, the same spin that Gino has. So to me, he clearly has the second best arm of the 4. He does not lack for confidence. In 11-on-11, he threw a couple into crazy tight windows, some back shoulder stuff. So if he gets a chance to play, and I think there's, depending on how the season goes, every possibility, they're going to want to see what they have in him at some point before they make a quarterback decision next year. He is certainly going to get big chunks of the preseason games for whatever they're worth. I think people will be impressed with how he throws the ball. Now, NFL decision-making, diagnosing defenses, everything between the ears, command of the huddle, managing the game. There's a million things that go into quarterbacking in the NFL besides arm strength. But if you're just looking for a guy that's got the raw tools to do the job, the way he threw the ball yesterday at least tells me the jumping-off point is that he can play.
Does it concern you at all if he's the backup week 1 and you're just one hit away from a day 3 quarterback having to come in and play?
No. I mean, I would say that, his upside obviously would be, I don't know, an NFL comp, like a Kirk Cousins type. Like, I think he's got kind of the same body type and arm strength. And, like he could be, if they hit the lottery, he could be like a legitimate starting quarterback. But, like, do I see Cade Klubnik having a long career in the NFL at the very least as a backup? Yeah. And why, if he could be a backup, should he not be the backup on day 1 if they feel like he'd be ready to be put in the game? At the very least, I would think that he would be the backup, a couple of weeks, 4 weeks into the season. I mean, I would think the thing that would keep him from being the backup right at the start of the year might be just digesting all the information and how far they feel like he is along with that, his command of the offense. If you go out there, what percentage of the playbook would we have at our disposal that you could run? And that would be an interesting question for Frank Reich. Right? Like, where does a kid have to get to where you're ready as a play caller to say, okay, you're in there now. If Gino had 100% of the playbook or 90% of the playbook, at least you've got 60 or 70% of it. That's enough for me to operate. Or if he's all the way up there, digesting the whole thing, if they feel like he's ready. I did some of Cade Klubnik's college games. Even when things weren't going well at Clemson, he never lost his confidence. Like, he is 100% of the belief that he thinks he can go out there and do this. And at that position, having that self-confidence, that belief in yourself, I mean, that's probably the most important thing. You know, I don't think he'd play scared if he got a chance to go in.
Bob Wischusen is our guest, radio play-by-play voice of the Jets. Of course, you watch him on ESPN, where he calls college games, hockey games, college hoops. He's all over everything when it comes to play-by-play. Bob, in terms of the head coach, he certainly has a ton of confidence. We mentioned he's taken over the defensive play calling. He's got to win a heck of a lot more than just 3 games if he's going to be here for 2027. So what do you need to see from Aaron Glenn this year where Jet fans should feel confident that they got the right guy as their head coach?
Yeah, again, it's kind of the David Bailey comp, right? Like, I wouldn't put a number on it because the Jets have 3 first-round picks next year. So by virtue of, like, the Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner trades, the fact that they didn't draft a quarterback this year because it really was kind of a one-quarterback draft, everyone knows next year they will draft a quarterback. Whether they have to package those picks up to go move up the draft because they had a good year this year, or they have a high enough pick, they can just go get the guy they want with their pick. One way or the other, they're going to get a quarterback next year. So, I mean, that is, like, by definition, still in the midst of this regime's rebuild. So to sit there and say, well, Aaron Glenn's job is safe if he wins 8 games, but if he wins 6, he's in trouble, or he'll be fine. Like, it seems silly to say something like that when you can see that they're still in the midst of building towards the future. So I think it's much more just about the eye test, right? Like, is this team ascending? Do you see these young players developing and getting better? You know, like that last 6-week stretch they had at the end of last season, that can't happen. But I don't know that they're going to be tanking this year because they have 3 first-round picks. So I would think that they'll be trying to win games all the way through the year. And if they win 6, but in the losses, in most of them, all right, it's 25 or 24-21 in the fourth quarter, and they're right there, 24-17 in the fourth quarter, and they're in those games, and it's a totally different feel than last year, then to me that tells you that the coach has the team pointing in the right direction as a team that's going to go out and draft the quarterback next year.
I just think how they start matters so much too, Bob, because they started 0-7 last year. Week 1, you're playing Robert Saleh and the Titans, very winnable game, and then after that, doesn't get any easier with the schedule being Packers, Lions, Bears. So they obviously can't start 0-4. Can they just get some wins early, build some confidence, kind of just stabilize things and give Jet fans a real season, unlike last year when they never really got off the mat and it was over before the month of September even ended?
The Jake Asman Show is brought to you by PrizePicks. Check out PrizePicks right now. If you're a sports fan, they have something for everyone, especially if you're one of my listeners and you're gearing up for the upcoming Jets season. For player picks on PrizePicks, you just pick a player you like and you go more or less on a few of their stats. Check out some of the numbers they have for some of your favorite Jet players: Geno Smith, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Omar Cooper Jr., Kenyon Sadiq, and many more. PrizePicks should be your go-to, and check out their new offer right now. Play your first $5 and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you need to do is sign up and use that code HMA. That's PrizePicks code HMA. Download the app now or click the link in the description to download the PrizePicks app today.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, you hate to put it all on one person's shoulders, but most likely the X factor in that at the jumping off point is going to be Geno Smith and how well he operates this offense right from the get-go. So he needs to have a really good training camp. And I would think they probably are going to want to play him more than most starting quarterbacks would in preseason games. Because I think they realize that, like, this is an offense that needs to have its feet underneath it, its rhythm to start the season to score some points, to have a chance to go win 2 of the first 4 or 5 games. So you're right. Like, you're at least feeling like you have a season out in front of you rather than, you know, all the conversation being about what quarterback they're going to draft by Halloween.
We've done that far too many times. Bob, I'll let you go with this. I saw that the legendary band Phish, that you're a huge fan of, they ended their MSG residency. I know you went to one of their shows as they closed out their appearances at MSG. What was that like, and will you miss the Fish residency at the Garden?
Well, I went to 2 of the 5,
Wow.
and it was awesome. I actually, even 3 nights ago, got to check the box and see Rush. I'd never seen Rush in person, and, to me, that's one of those, at least from growing up, the era I grew up in, liking that kind of music. They're a Mount Rushmore kind of a band for me. So I got a chance to see them, and then, I saw Fish's last night at the Garden of the 5-show run. But they haven't announced anything. I expect they're going to be back for New Year's. I mean, they do a New Year's run every year, and if they do a 4-year or 4-show run at New Year's, I think the 4th show will be their 100th all-time at the Garden. So they'll do something goofy and crazy and fun to commemorate that, I'm sure. But it was awesome. I mean, Fish fans, it's kind of like if you know, you know. And off of the last show that we all went to, if you know, you know. They gave Fish fans a Fish show. It was that good.
That's awesome. Good for you. Bob, thanks so much for your time. Continued success in the booth. You are by far, especially last year, the best part about the Jets. So thanks so much for all you do, and looking forward to catching up soon.
I appreciate it. Hopefully I'm not the best part about them this year. I have a feeling it's going to get better this year than just me.
Let's hope. Bob Wischusen, radio voice of the Jets. You watch him on ESPN all the time, calling games. Good stuff there from him. Love what he said about Klubnik, by the way, because it does feel like Klubnik's going to get every opportunity to win the backup job to Geno. And let's be real, when you're a Jet quarterback, you play. They never just have one quarterback start every game. There's always multiple quarterbacks that seem to get involved in a Jet season. We'll take a break, come back, wrap it all up. Final segment, Jake Asman in for Michael K. right here on 880 ESPN New York.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.